This is Melody. Melody is the friendly character of the Good Guys group. And remember, Good Guys is an archetype. It's just a way of playing the game. It's like a certain play style. It's also a group, the group that she's a part of five other characters. But it's not the end name of it. So it's just called the Good Guys for now. She is a songbird that is pretty much like a bard. And today we're going to go over her backstory, so the lore that she has around her, why she's adventuring, why she's competing in the arena, and then we're also going to go over her entire kit. And so just as we were taking a look at everything, remember everything here is just for playtesting purposes. The art is just AI whatever stuff. This will be changed. I mean, this is probably the longest part of the process, but the art will be changed. As well as the templates and the names of cards. The only thing that's really sticking here are the mechanics and abilities, as well as Melody's name. Everything else is going to be kind of overhauled over the next weeks, months, years, whatever it takes to get everything in the right place. So let's get started with Melody. So Melody is a songbird, and she was born into a small town on the outskirts of a larger dukedom, which is just not a kingdom, but smaller, where she lived with her family. And her family was composed of many actors, singers, and performers, just kind of the role that songbirds play in the world of Grit. Her village was known for this, for housing these kinds of actors and people. It was a very artsy kind of area. And one of the tales that had been passed down through generations was that in the hardest of times for this village, there would be a child born who would have so much magical and artistical prowess that with their voice they'd be able to sway those that would subjugate everybody in the village to all these hardships away, and they would basically save the village. And at a really, really, really young age, Melody knew that was her. She knew that she possessed this magical voice that she had let out a few times, but she feared the responsibility. She feared being a protector. She feared this gift that she had. So she decided to hide it, and she became a mute. And unlike the rest of her family, she didn't sing. She didn't perform. She didn't do anything. She was very much an outlier within the village itself. And just unfortunate for the village people, because to them, she was just a normal child when she was really something bigger that she did not want any part of. Then, one fateful day, like all stories have, the ruling duke within the area, the dukedom is controlled by the Cat Empire, the Cat Kingdom, and remember this is all just like placeholder names for now, so the Cat Kingdom. Came to the village in demanding for a specific set of information about an ancient and powerful artifact. And they came to the village elder, who was this elderly, now losing his voice, elder crow, that resolutely refused to give the information to it, no matter how much the Duke had decided to push and pull on him, and just would not give the information up because it was a village secret, basically, that only he knew. And so, in an act of cruelty, the Duke slays the elder in front of anybody who was around, almost like nothing. It was out of anger and resentment. And so, enraged at this, and desperate, and kind of beaten down and broken, the villagers rose up against the small battalion that had come with the Duke. And they rose up in rebellion against the Duke and his small platoon. However, they were vastly outmatched in terms of strength and training, and it was a brutal massacre for the village. Only a few villagers were spared under the Duke's rule, as he wanted the village to rebuild itself, as to not lose a part of his property, essentially. So he left a few alive, and Melody, having to watch her people, her beloved elder, as well as her parents and all of her family members be slaughtered in front of her eyes, she's paralyzed, completely paralyzed by fear and grief. She's been mute this entire time, and she can't fight back. So, because of this, she was one of the ones that was left alive. She didn't fight back. She didn't do anything but cower in fear, and they spared her life and left her behind. And through this, she lived. She was chosen to be one of the people who lived in her village. The next morning, she was given the call. And the call is this thing in Grit where it is essentially a god or a deity or some sort of patron pokes out to you specifically and says, hey, the arena is coming up. There's chance for you and I to meet. Come and win in my name. And so Melody has no idea who this is or why she was called of anybody else. She doesn't pray to anybody or have a patron or anything like that. But to her, this was an awakening for her. Because of this massacre, because of this inability of her to assume responsibility for this gift that she had that she now feels like she shouldn't have. She then now goes traveling to the arena and sets out on this journey to grow stronger, master her voice, and become this bard that everybody expects her to be, as well as become a warrior. She wants to seek knowledge and magic and power through her adventures and through this arena, hopefully, so that way one day she can return to the village, free her village from the oppression of the dukedom, the cat dukedom, and set her place in history as the person to do that, because that's who she's meant to be. So now she moves around, she inspires people, she protects, and she ensures that nobody else has to suffer like she does. And she travels on an adventure and gets into a bunch of hijinks. And then she joins the good guys team at some point, which I'm pretty sure we hear about in other character stories. So this is her backstory. This is why she's adventuring. So let's get into her kit. Okay, so Melody is a friendly hero, which means she has no attack and she has all hand size. And that's the same with all friendly characters. Her ability is, as an action, exhaust a song you control, and then flip up to one card in your tenacity face up. So over time, we'll see she's got 3 other songs in her kit, and songs are an enhancement with a specific trait. So every song right now is an enhancement that has a song as a trait. So that's how you know what a song is. So she can exhaust a song you control that's in play, and when she does that, you can flip a card in your tenacity, which basically means that you can block for free. You can place cards in your tenacity through other face down methods like a lot of other characters do. This is very powerful. It's the same ability actually as your tambourine. It's the exact same ability. There's another line of text here, but that's not supposed to be there. So they have the same ability, and I don't like that. I don't like that they have the same ability. They can have a similar one, but the payoffs and the payments should be a little bit different. So like Melody should exhaust to use her ability. And the tambourine should do the same thing. So I think that these two are too similar because they have the same ability, and then one of them needs to be changed, or both of them, to be something a little bit more thematic. But exhausting songs is the name of the game with Melody, because when we take a look at our first song, the Song of Empathy, it's a 0-cost enhancement that has the song trait, and it says it's a forced ability, which is what this red exclamation point is. Exhaust this. When you rest a hero, discard 1 card from your tenacity, or discard this card. And then it has a passive ability that says trigger any affinity abilities on cards you play. So a song at the end of your turn is going to exhaust itself because it's a forced ability, or when you rest a hero, and it's going to force you to discard a card from your tenacity or discard this. So in a way, this is a way for you to clean up your tenacity when you have a bunch of face down cards that you don't really want or don't have anything to do with. Or you discard it itself and you don't get the benefit anymore on your next hero that you put out from your party. So the songs will always have this first ability that says when you rest, discard a card or this card, and then we'll have a passive ability of some kind that buffs your entire party. So the name of the game is play songs, keep them in play for as long as possible, and get all these crazy buffs that your opponent can't possibly win through. I also didn't go through the weapon because, like I said, it's the same exact ability, except this can flip them face down, but that's more of just a lazy wording on my part. So they have the same ability, but that's what a song is. So with her ability, she can exhaust this song prematurely during your turn, and you don't have to actually pay this cost. In fact, you're using this as a way to fuel Melody's payoffs. So that'll change when the hero changes as well. The next is the Song of Strength. The Song of Strength, once again, is the song trait. It has the when you rest a hero, discard a card or discard this card ability. And then it also has your attacks get +1 damage. This is incredibly strong. This is like overly strong. It should probably cost 2, honestly. I think they should maybe cost a little bit more, but the cost is kind of hard because the cost of keeping them up is also kind of a part of their cost. It's not just a resource cost, it's also a maintenance cost. So it's a little bit hard to gauge what these should cost, because if they're low cost, remember, enhancements can be attacked because they have an armor value equal to their cost. So the Song of Strength, although be it is very strong, is very susceptible to basically any damage, as well as the Song of Empathy. Because the Song of Empathy has 0 armor, that means it can be attacked by a 0 damage attack, if that makes sense. So Melody has a 0 damage attack and can attack for the basic attack at the Song of Empathy and put pressure on it to force the opponent to use resources. So songs are kind of double-edged swords in that they can require a lot of resources, but you can kind of use those as fuel. So it's interesting. Yeah, it's really good. Getting +1 damage on all your attacks is very good. That includes skill or attack card attacks and not just basic attacks. The Song of Iron is a 2-cost enhancement with the same trait as well as same forced ability, and its passive ability says your active hero gets +1 arm, and arm is short for armor. This card is also incredibly good. It's so good. It's like, I almost feel like it's too good, just because having 4 armor in this game is very powerful. It forces your opponent to invest a lot more resources into attacking, making bad attacks, while you're able to make better blocks. So once this comes out, it's kind of like you have to attack this. So what I might do is I might make it so this can block instead, if that makes sense, instead of you giving you +1 armor, because it's just, the passive value you get is just too good. I don't know. Maybe I'm overvaluing it, but I feel like it's very good because it just takes every hit. Maybe if there's more enhancement removal introduced in the game through other cards, this won't become so much of a problem because you can plan around it. But for now, it's quite strong. It's quite strong. Okay, Symphony is Melody's signature attack, and it says it's a 3-cost attack that says deal 5 damage. Then if you control a song, place the top card of your deck into your Tenacity face down. And then it has an additional effect with the affinity keyword, which says affinity means that if when you play this card, your active hero has the same class as it, then you get to activate this effect. So it says exhaust a song you control. This card is like a non-combo with itself, because when you deal damage, this is too much damage for a friendly character. Friendly characters are not meant to be damage dealers. They are not meant to be the ones that have cards in their kits that are like on par with others. So a 3-cost 5 damage attack is on par with the cost to damage ratio. And then it has these other abilities, which are both good and bad. So if you control a song, you get to add a card to your Tenacity face down, which is normally bad, but it fuels the songs. So that way you have a free discard for their forced ability. But you also get this affinity exhaust a song you control, which means if you have one song in play, right, you have the Song of Empathy, let's say, which always makes it so you trigger affinity abilities. So no matter who's in play, you get to trigger this affinity ability. You play the Symphony, and then you deal some damage, and then you control a song for its effect. You place a card into your Tenacity face down. Then it says, as an affinity, you get to exhaust a song you control. So the song that would use this face down card now doesn't use it because it's already exhausted and it doesn't have to activate its forced ability. And now you have this face down card that can be used for other abilities and effects. But the idea is that the songs and Melody's abilities are meant to kind of pay those off. So it's really, really good with Melody, because Melody can exhaust all your songs already pretty well with her and her tambourine and this card. And then you can you can flip cards face up here. You can flip cards face up in your Tenacity with the tambourine as well. So the Symphony is like, it's almost tied too well to Melody, but maybe that's okay. I think I'm almost like talking myself out of the badness of this card. It's meant to work with Melody specifically. Like, I almost think I want to make this like her card where she's the only one who can play it in the game, but that's for a different design video. So it's good with Melody, and it's incredibly subpar with every other, while any other character is out and you have songs. So I don't know, just an interesting thought. Okay, next is Melodious. I remember names are just playtesting names right now. So as a 3-cost attack, it's a neutral card, so anybody can play this. And it says deal 3 damage, which is incredibly low for the cost. Then ready your active hero, and they cannot make basic attacks this turn. So the idea is that you can use your active hero for something, let's say an attack or an effect on it that exhausts it. Then you can play Melodious, deal a really tiny amount of damage, get a 3-cost card into your Tenacity, and ready your active hero, therefore getting you ready to do something else with it. Ideally, which all friendly characters should have, which is why Melody is going to get a slight rework in her ability here. She will exhaust user ability, so this card basically allows you to use your ability again when it's an exhaust ability. So the card is good. It looks bad on paper, but it's good in the right kit. So I think it's fine. It's also a neutral card, so anybody can use this. There's a lot of things you can do with readying heroes and doing things like that. So I'm not super worried about this card being slightly underpowered looking for now, because I think it's fine as is in its current state. So that is Melody's kit. She is very much a support. All of her cards want to support others. She's not a big attacker, and she really wants to fuel those support cards with her abilities as well with her attacks. So Melody is like the really, really, really required support for the good guys archetype. She works incredibly well with Rush, which is very much lore friendly. If you haven't checked out Rush's Spotlight yet, you should go do that, because it talks more about how him and Melody meet and why they work so well together. It works well with Vincent for the most part, because you're able to change a bunch of cards from face up and face down and kind of get the right combination of face up and face down cards for Vincent. All the other characters, so Katrina, Hilda, and Amber, all put face down cards down, which she can then put face up again through her abilities. And it all very much works together. It's really good. Melody is a very core component of the Good Guys team. So much so that it feels like she's almost required to make it a top tier team. So I think in some other videos we talked about upgrading and updating some of the characters. So I'm sure they'll all get a little bit of a facelift at some point. But that's Melody. She's, our little Songbird main character, and now you know how to play her. So when we go into the archetypes, you'll be able to see how Melody works in more specifically with other cards and interactions between characters. But for now, this is her kit. This is her story. And I thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far in the video, thanks, man. That's super cool. Wherever you are in the world, have a great day, night, weekend, morning, work day, whatever it is. And I hope to see you again. So see ya.